Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot, or welcome to the channel if you're new here. Today's pick a card reading is a good old-fashioned message from your spirit guides. It's been about, I believe, a month since we've done one of those, so I thought it'd be a good time for us to just do like a nice monthly check-in in our community with our spirit teams. So without further ado, let us pick our piles to receive our messages. Over here on the left for my pile number ones, I have Impulse. In the middle for my pile number twos, we have Reconnect. And on the right for my pile number threes, I have Observe. So as always, feel free to drop down to the description box below or the top pinned comment beneath the reading to click on the timestamp for your reading today. If you're not sure which pile you would like read for you, if you're new to pick a card readings, perhaps I always recommend just go with your first gut instinct, but either way, whenever you are ready, drop down to that timestamp, click on it, and I will see you in our discussion about a message from your spirit guides. See you there. Hello there, my lovely pile number ones. Welcome to your message from your spirit guides reading today. As you recall, your pile leader you chose to choose your reading was Impulse. So we have a mountain landscape with the full moon through the frame of a heart. So as always with our pile leaders, I'm going to set this over here to the left next to the pine cone. And as is tradition, I'm going to pull our tarot cards right now on the screen. So using the Tarot of the Golden Wheel today. I haven't used this deck in a while, so I thought, hey, why not bring it out of the roster? Spirit team, spirit guides of pile number ones. Around 5 cards, please, for their message. Thank you. And let's pick our cards. Pile ones. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Actually, those two are kind of coming out together. I meant to pull this one, but if they come out together, I tend to pick them. So that's number 4 and number 5. And let us unveil your cards. So from the Oracle decks today, first up, we have, looks like a feather with a key at the bottom. Earth of Air, Wisecraft. Where earth meets air. So practicality meeting the mind is how I would kind of translate that. Then from the Botanical Inspirations flower, you received the daffodil, also known as Narcissus, rebirth and new beginnings. And I'll read the quote down here for you. It says, "New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings," from Lao Tzu. Just going to set that there for a second. I'll figure out where to place that after I have the bigger ones. Then from Ask Your Guides, you receive number 24, Growth, Teacher Guides. Almost like a plant reaching towards the sun. Very interesting. Actually, I'll put that one up there, I think. And I'm going to put our flower over to the right, actually. We're going to switch it up today, pile number 1. So I'll put one of the smaller cards over here. And last but not least, from the Angel Guide Oracle, you received Inner Child Healing. So you have a very, very green energy type reading today, pile number 1s. And I know that sounds maybe kind of odd for me to call it like a different, or like by a color, but I see a lot of healing, hence, inner child healing. A lot about like growth here with especially the Ask Your Guides Oracle over here. And even your Botanical Inspirations card says something about rebirth and new beginnings. It's a very like spring energy type reading. You even have some earthy vibes from your Wild Harmonics Oracle. So perhaps, I think intuitively I'm hearing that you're going through a period of growth right now, rapidly, especially probably related to some inner child healing from the Angel Guide Oracle card you received, but let's unveil your tarot cards before I get too far in the weeds on everything. So the first one is the Knight of Wands. Beautiful. Number 2, the Knight of Swords, reverse. So we have 2 knights so far. Number 3, the Empress, literally the number 3 in tarot, reversed. Yeah, maybe a bit of a mother-related wound here with that Empress reversed. We'll talk about that in a second. Number 4, the Five of Swords reversed. Yep. Let's it's coming together quite clearly. And last but not least, we have the Page of Wands reversed. Lots of wands in this reading. But you also have an equal amount of swords. So that's fire and air, pile number 1. So let's see what's going on here. Actually, I'm going to slip that just a bit further up. Yeah, so right off the bat, pile number 1s, you know, I'll just repeat it a little bit here as I was kind of talking it through as I was pulling out your cards. Your spirit guides want to talk to you today about a period of growth that you're going through, a period of healing, and specifically it's a period of healing regarding your childhood, wounds from your childhood. You know, with that Empress reversed here in the middle, that almost speaks to me of something to do with your mother, because the Empress is motherhood, feminine energy, and especially reversed, it's feminine energy in the negative. Okay, and that being the central card tells me that I don't know if you maybe had issues with your mother growing up, or maybe you lost her at a very young age, or there's some, however it applies to you, pile number 1s, because I always say this in my readings. General readings are going to be different for everyone and how it exactly applies, but overall, for everybody watching this particular pile, there's some wound with your mother going on here. And with the abundance of swords and wands in your reading, that's an abundance of air and an abundance of fire. So I think this wound from your mother, or your relationship with her, impacted a lot about the way you think and about the way you are impassioned in life, or could even manifest in a lack of passion for things. Maybe even a bit of, you know, anxiety, depression. But your spirit guides are really lauding you and clapping for you right now is kind of the imagery I'm seeing, because you're, if not currently, very soon going to go through a period of time where you're going to very majorly overcome a big hurdle of something that this mother wound caused. Okay, pile number 1s. And the interesting part of what I'm seeing, especially manifests in the Earth of Air Wisecraft, it's at the feather with the key, and there's there's even a keyhole behind it, I'm just realizing here with that card. And that being the card of where Earth meets air. It's, like I said when I pulled it out, practicality meeting the mind. Applying your mind and applying the way you think to the tangible things around you. So in more layman's terms, it's almost like this period of growth is spurred on by you teaching other people is one way I can see it manifesting, or there's a lot of studying. I don't know if you're going back to school or if you're currently in school for something. You know, of course we can be in school at any age. You know, I've heard of people, you know, going to college in their 20s, of course, is, you know, the typical we see nowadays, at least with younger generations. But, you know, same thing too, you know, people go back to schooling to try a different career later on in life, or they do it to follow a passion they weren't able to follow earlier in their life because of a lack of resources, let's say. And this period of studying and learning, if you haven't embarked on it yet, you're being highly encouraged to, because there's something about this time of being a student or a teacher, could manifest in either way, that is going to help you overcome that mother wound we were just talking about, okay? And yeah, I mean, even with your daffodil, rebirth and new beginnings, it's almost like a flipping to a new chapter in your life after this. Everything up until this point has been affected by the shadow of that mother wound, pile number 1s. And then afterwards, it's like the imagery I'm being shown is like a sun going through a time lapse in the sky and then setting. It's like, okay, that was one chapter or one day of your life. Then you have, you know, the period you're at right now in the night, and then now you're going to go through in the near future a time of dawning, new birth, new beginnings, like your daffodil is saying. And so, I mean, there's even just a lot of imagery of reaching for the sun, your growth card has that. There's even kind of a solar imagery around the inner child healing card here from the Angel Guide Oracle, not only around the child, but even behind the angel carrying the child and nurturing it. And I mean, even daffodils kind of, you know, they're a very sunny looking flower. They're yellow and they have the orange center. So Two, I don't know if maybe you've been going through a time of you haven't been going outside a lot, or like maybe you've been lacking some, and we're getting a little bit into health here, but maybe lacking some vitamin D. And so that might be a bit of a side message here from your spirit guides to go outside a little bit more, get some more sunshine if you haven't been getting enough outside, vitamin D time, pile number ones. That can also help you overcome things, I mean, at least in a minor way, because, obviously walking outside isn't just going to immediately heal trauma, but nature has a lot of aspects to it that can heal us and bring us peace, and same thing too, if you have been going through a period of maybe some lower mental health, say like anxiety and depression, vitamin D actually and being outside in fresh air can help a lot, or at least in a little way, give you a little bit of a more of a nudge to help you overcome some periods of sadness and anxiety. So yeah, so I mean, I don't know if recently you, getting back to the studying, learning thing too, sorry, this just popped up in my head, but another message about that. But if you've had an inkling recently where you wanted to go back to school or change a career or even go to school for the first time if you weren't able when you were younger, like that's a pretty big go ahead from your spirit guides to take that opportunity, take that risk and choose growth, okay? Or even it could be you teaching others maybe to overcome something similar to what you went through when you were young, maybe relating to that mother wound we were just talking about. And through teaching and helping others through the same things that we went through, that often is healing in and of itself, because when we see other people overcome what we have been trying to overcome, even if it's at an earlier level or an earlier stage than the progress that we're at, that can inspire you a lot to think, okay, well, if these other people can also overcome this wound or this trauma, so can I. And on top of that too, it feels like it's a sole purpose of yours, pile number ones, to really help other people along this path. And that might have even been part of the reason why that occurred, was because on your life path before you came to Earth this time, is how I'll put it, you knew later on that you were going to need that experience in order to help other people through their trauma as well. So, I mean, it might even be maybe you're going back to school to be a therapist or learn psychology or sociology, things like that. It could also be something to do with like childhood development type courses, or just healing in general, maybe even, of the body, because even your body can carry a lot of invisible wounds from trauma, like, aches and pains, or even when you're tense, like, how your shoulders can kind of tense up a little bit, and like you get like knots in your back and things like that, and like your head kind of hunches a little bit. So maybe even going into, say, the study of massage therapy or holistic healing or physical therapy, things like that. I'm seeing a lot of that type of area of studying would be a good direction for you, at least that your spirit guides are encouraging you towards. Of course, you always have free will. You can always say no and be like, nope, I'm going to go on this path. But that is something that they're at least heavily recommending for you. And looking at your other tarot cards, I haven't even gotten to some of the other ones yet. There's a lot of knights here. You have the Knight of Wands and you have the Knight of Swords. And knights in tarot are a lot about taking action. And they're also talking about something where you really want to take action on something you're passionate about, but it's the clash of your heart versus your mind, because you have the Knight of Wands next to the Knight of Swords. It's literally like, I want to take action because my heart says so, but something in my mind is telling me not to. It could be related to the studying, teaching thing we were just talking about, of course. Maybe that's what you're hemming and hawing about. You're like, I'm not so sure. I don't know if I want to go through with that. I'm not sure. There might even be a little bit of a hesitation, because you might even have a bit of an imposter syndrome where you think, well, yeah, sure, maybe I went through that thing, but am I really like qualified to help other people? Even though you probably have like spades of wisdom and experience to share with other people that are maybe a little bit further back on the same path that you're on, right? So maybe just overcoming some self-doubt in that area too is a part of your theme for, the next few months or so, or however long this applies to each and every one of you. But yeah, so whatever recently you have been struggling with in terms of something that your heart wants to say or do, but your mind is telling you not to, your spirit guides are encouraging you to follow the heart this time with that Knight of Wands, okay, pile number ones, especially when it comes to creative things and passions, because that's what the wand suit is all about. Also, just self-care in general, that can be another manifestation of the Empress reversed here. I know we talked about the mother wound, but intuitively, I'm also hearing a message about being sure to take care of yourself. Maybe even that's an encouragement to get some healing yourself in terms of your body, like not just studying things like holistic healing or physical therapy or massage therapy, things like that, but maybe even, if you have the time and the resources, go and get a massage yourself, or, asks, a loved one to give you a massage and then maybe give them one in return, things like that, depending on your resources and your time. But yeah, taking care of your body with that Empress reversed, because, it being reversed is like the opposite of nurturing. And it's telling you, hey, maybe nurture a little bit more here, pile number ones, of yourself. Maybe you've been neglecting yourself a little bit too much recently. And maybe that also links into that mother wound is, sometimes when we're taught at a young age that we're not worth nurturing, even if it's, obviously it's a lie because everyone's worth nurturing, right? But, sometimes our parents can have that effect on us. The way our parents treat us as children often teaches us how we treat ourselves, right? In terms of psychology. And so maybe that's part of that message too, where they're saying you need to learn to take care of yourself more in the way that it seems like maybe a feminine or a mother figure didn't. And that's also part of the learning process that you're going on. Okay, learning to heal others and how to take care of others will also help you how to learn and heal and take care of yourself, pile number ones. And then, the Five of Swords and the Page of Wands reversed, both of them. 1 second. Page of Wands and the Five of Swords reversed. I'm actually just going to take a drink really quick here, pile number ones. Apologies for a moment of silence. I don't know if you got in an argument recently with somebody, pile number ones. I'm feeling argument vibes off this card. And it was an argument based off of something that someone was very passionate about, but they were a little bit too inexperienced to make the right choice, or you were afraid they were going to make the wrong choice, or vice versa. Someone was telling you that you were making the wrong choice. Perhaps it has to do with this studying, teaching thing we were just talking about, but it could manifest in a different way for you, pile number ones, depending on, generating. Everyone's going to be a bit different in how things apply, but yeah, an argument about a passion and inexperience in that area. I'm going to draw some extra cards on this particular set of cards over here, pile ones, just because I want to ask your spirit guides and your team about advice regarding that argument. So I just want to make sure that I send you off with the best tools today. So I'm a bit curious. Spirit team for pile number ones, could you give me around 2 or 3 more cards explaining advice on that argument? What's going on there with that? Thank you. Let's see. 4 of Wands reversed. Interesting. Queen of Wands. Look at all these Wands, pile number ones. Lots of fire. And the Star reversed. Yeah. Dashing hopes. It could have been a partner of yours with that 4 of Wands reversed, pile number ones. It could have also just be someone that you live with, because the 4 of Wands is often about our home. And one person in the argument was very confident, but the other person kept trying to dash the hopes of person number 2, which could be you or the other person. But in terms of advice, if you're wondering about the fallout from that argument, or maybe it's still kind of in media res at a standstill, right? They're saying to really believe in yourself, pile number ones, especially with that Queen of Wands, because the Queen of Wands is all about internal confidence. Someone who knows what their passion is and what their will is, and they wield their will with conviction. Don't let whatever the argument was dash your hopes, especially with that Star reversed. Have faith in yourself, okay? I think that other person was coming from a place of insecurity with the material world, or something to do with, say, a very tangible example, it might not apply to all of you, is, say, you got in an argument about wanted to change your career, right? And the other person you got in an argument with might have said something to the extent of, well, that won't make you as much money. Well, what about our financial stability? Something like that. That's where I'm kind of seeing that Four of Wands reversed energy, because it is the card of the home and happiness at home. And so they were worried about it. Or it could have been, flip the positions around. It could possibly be that maybe that you were trying to discourage somebody. But in either case, they're telling you with that Queen of Wands and the Star reversed especially, keep that hope or faith in what you were talking about, and make sure to remain confident with your convictions on this situation, because I'm seeing that, especially that Queen of Wands is telling you to believe in yourself, believe in, and I already kind of said that, but just to reiterate here, pile number ones with that argument. And let's see if there's any other messages here from your spirit guides. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I would like to do a final scan through. And two, I'm really drawn to your pile leader over here, the one that you chose your pile with today, Impulse. Especially being framed by the heart. I feel like you've had a lot of struggles lately with following your heart versus not following your heart. And kind of like we were saying before with that Knight of Wands versus the Knight of Swords reversed, where it's like the fight of the heart wanting to take action versus the mind saying no. That's just another, repetition of the message to me to follow your heart, to frame things with your heart more, because I think what I'm being told is that you've been living in the hesitation of the mind for too long, and they're really wanting you to give your heart room to grow and let your heart take a little bit more of control of the wheel of your life compared to how you've been kind of you've been letting your mind, I think, be a little bit have too much authority, pile number ones. And so they're saying, let your heart guide the way a bit more in the future, okay? Even with the inner child healing we were talking about earlier with your angel guide oracle, that's how, kids live their life, right? Kids have an almost infinite capacity for following their heart. They don't really think through things logically, and that's actually, that can be a bad thing sometimes, because, a kid won't think, hey, I shouldn't touch that stove, it's hot. They just think, oh, I'm curious about this, I'm going to follow my heart and put their hand forward. Yes, that does happen, right? But on the opposite end, as adults, sometimes we can lose sight of the magic of curiosity, and we can lose sight of the magic of believing in trying, and believing in the silver linings of life, and believing in that life can be good, and letting our heart guide us, okay, just to reiterate. And so they're telling you maybe through a lot of that inner child healing, or at least maybe to get there, is to act like a child more, at least in terms of your curiosity. Of course, you have to be a responsible adult. I'm not saying don't do that, but, embodying more of that childlike energy, of that hope in the future, and that curiosity will help you in this path of yours, pile number ones. Okay, that's what they want to tell you today. So yes, to summarize everything, if you're inclined towards studying or teaching something, you're being encouraged to go for it. Definitely that is a big part of a new beginning, or a new period of a lot of growth for you and healing in your life soon, pile number ones, especially regarding mother wounds from your past or your childhood, and helping others along on that path as well. Following the heart more is another point they really wanted to emphasize. Self-care is another point they really wanted to emphasize, especially with that Empress reversed. And regarding that argument we talked about too, that they wanted to touch base with you on, believe in your conviction, okay? They're telling you to believe in what you said in that argument, okay? Have hope or faith in yourself in what was discussed, okay? Depending on how that, it's good, like I said, it'll apply differently to everybody, but overall, embody that Queen of Wands there. Have that confidence, have that inner knowing of, that inner fire, I should say, of knowing you're on the right path, and you know what's best for you. You know what your heart says. And not letting the mind or others tamper your heart too much, okay? So that is what I will leave you with, my wonderful pile number ones. As always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. If it was, if it resonated, please like, comment, or subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That just helps me out, which helps me provide more readings for you and everyone else watching this right now. And I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, pile number ones. Lots of healing and good luck to you on your journey of, it seems like, a lot of growth here in the near future. And I hope to see you in the next reading, okay? Bye, pile ones. Hello there, my lovely pile number twos. Welcome to your pick a card reading today about a message from your spirit guides. As you recall, your pile leader you chose to, pick your pile with today was Reconnect. We have a beautiful crescent moon with roots and a plant growing atop it with some butterflies. Very beautiful card. I'm going to set your pile leader over here next to the pine cone, as is custom. And as another custom, I'm going to pull our tarot cards right away. So, spirit team from my wonderful pile number twos, collectively, would you give me around 5 cards explaining more about what it is you want to talk to them about today? Thank you. Oopsie, that one for sure just didn't want to go back in, so we're going to just take that one. Number 2. And we'll take this one as the 5th. And let's unveil your cards, pile number 2s. So first up from the Oracle decks, we have Dimensional of Celestial, Victorious Silence. We have a figure, it looks like meditating. Root, heart, and crown chakra. Could be also third eye. Interesting. Talk about that more in a second. From the Botanical Inspirations, you received the Primrose, Youthful Love. And I'll read the quote. It says, "If I had a single flower for every time I think of you, I could walk forever in my garden." That was by Claudia Adrian Grandi. Over there. From the Ask Your Guides Oracle, you received number 13, Change. You know, it's interesting. You have not only the symbolism of the butterfly here, but you also have butterflies in your pile leader here. Interesting. And then last but not least, for the Oracle cards at least, we have the Angel Guide Oracle of Vulnerability and Freedom. Definitely more, throat and heart chakra is what I'm being told. Expressing oneself, being open emotionally. And then let's unveil your tarot cards before we reveal the full message. First up, we have the 7 of Wands. Looks like a shepherd with some wolves in front of him. Shepherd boy, I should say. And then number 2, we have the 6 of Cups reversed. Number 3, the Moon reversed. We have the imagery of the wolf again. A lot of butterflies and wolves. Interesting. Number 4, the 2 of Cups reversed. And last but not least, we have the Knight of Swords. So what is your message from your spirit guides today, pile number 2s? Well, the first part of the message that's coming out is definitely, they're indicating that you're going through a period of a lot of healing or growth regarding your, like I was saying before, especially the heart chakra. And that is often about like our vulnerability and our emotions, right? The heart chakra is usually located around the chest. Kind of, you can see it here in your Dimensional of Celestial card over here. It's, literally, the chakra of the heart. It kind of, what it says on the tin, if you're not familiar, it's the, pretty much like what vulnerability freedom says here, being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to be open with your emotions. And, sometimes that also ties into the throat chakra, at least the way I see it, because the throat chakra is about being open with your communication. And you do have the Knight of Swords here, which is taking action with air, which is the mind or the way we speak. So I don't know if maybe your whole entire life or up until this point recently, you have had struggles with being honest with other people, not in like a bad way, pile number twos, but at least in speaking your truth to others, speaking the way that you actually feel. Maybe you have learned to hold back on your emotions a lot, hold back on, what you really think and how you really feel to other people. Maybe because, and what I'm hearing is the word shame intuitively. A lot of this stems from our psychology and our traumas, right? We often act the way that we were taught to act, or the way that we were taught to think of ourselves. And, perhaps you grew up in a family, oh my God, you're kind of like pile number ones today. They're very, very, very similar to you today, pile number twos. But maybe you grew up in a family where you were shamed for expressing yourself. Maybe it was you're supposed to be more stoic and you're supposed to be kind of guarded, or a lot of times too, we can become, excuse me, my voice is scratchy. A lot of times we can become stoic or guarded because we have been hurt in the past, and it teaches us to put up our walls. And so part of what's coming soon, or at least what you're being encouraged towards by your spirit guides here, is to work a lot more on changing in this area. Or you're going to come across a lot of situations that might help spur growth in this area of opening that heart chakra more, of opening your throat chakra as well some more. And maybe even a little bit too with your root chakra, because not only do you have literally like roots in your pile leader about like Reconnect, which I think of like grounding exercises, right? Making sure that you feel anchored here on earth. But you even have the root chakra a little bit here too with your dimensional celestial, the victorious silence card up here. So also I'd recommend, maybe looking at some grounding exercises too. So, it's interesting. I don't have a lot of readings where a lot of chakras tend to come up in one reading. This is probably the first where I think at least 3 have come up. So if you're not familiar with chakra work, pile number twos, really, really research at least, and I'll list them again, root, heart, and throat. That's what I'm recommending for you, okay? Maybe even a little bit of like third eye and crown, because you do have that up here with your dimensional celestial. But at least, like I said, root, heart, throat. Okay, past the chakra talk. We'll have some other messages here too. It looks like, maybe you've been a bit more isolated recently too. That's been coming up in a lot of collective readings at least on my channel for my viewers. And the reason I say that is because I really think with this change card here, we think of, the cocoon as a catalyst of change with, especially, like the caterpillar into the butterfly, but a cocoon can also symbolically mean the energy of being kind of closed off. Maybe, like I was saying, having walls up. And a lot of times that can lead to isolation, pile number twos. And especially in combination with the 2 of Cups reversed, which is about, disharmony in relationships, and the 7 of Wands, which is defensiveness. Literally, the 7 of Wands is putting up a wall, like the shepherd puts up a wall and guards his flock from the wolves. Okay. They're telling you that there's no need to be so cocooned and isolated away. And I know, speaking as someone myself who's kind of a hermit sometimes, so this is the pot calling the kettle black, but it's hard sometimes to reach out if you've been very isolated. If, maybe it's to the point where you have lost some friendships because you just didn't have the, maybe you were kind of depressed or, had anxiety or social anxiety, things like that. So it's been hard to reach out. And, obviously over time that when that happens, you can just organically lose relationships because, there hasn't been enough nurturing of those connections. And so this next phase of your life here, they're telling you, is a really fruitful time, fertile time to, like I was saying, break down those walls and try to make new connections, okay? Or if for those of you where it's not necessarily an isolation-related thing, at the very least, really focus on nurturing the connections you have right now because, literally your piloter says reconnect. It kind of is what it says on the tin, and I think maybe that's why you were kind of drawn to it intuitively, is because this theme of reconnect is so prevalent here. Reconnecting with your chakras, like we said, reconnecting with other people, okay? And 2, I almost kind of see it as, well, what I'm really drawn to, is how I'll put it, is the moon here reversed. The moon reversed is about breaking illusions, realizing reality. And, a lot of times when we have our walls up against others, when we feel so cut off and closed off, it's because we believe in the illusion of judgment. We believe in the illusion of believing something of ourselves that's not true. Like, a lot of times when people struggle with, say, just for an example, social anxiety, though this might not apply to everybody, they believe in the self-judgment of, I am unlovable, I am unworthy of other people's attention, or I am, what's another common self-belief with that? I'm not worth their time. Things, self-defeating things like that. And so breaking these illusions is also part of this growth process for you here in the near future of realizing, yes, pile number twos, despite what things like, for example, social anxiety might tell you about yourself, it's hard to break those things. I get it too. I've been there myself. You are worthy of love and you are worthy of other people's time. Okay. The way that I am intuitively picking up on this, and, it's almost like someone hiding away thinking they're a monster, and so they put themselves away in the shadows or, in the dark, when really nobody actually sees them as that monster. Does that kind of make sense, pile number twos? Of course, rhetorically asking, but yes. And not that you are a monster, pile number twos. That's the actual, that's the meaning of it, is that you aren't the negative things you think about yourself. You're not who you think other people think about you is, okay? And that's what that moon reversed is, about breaking those illusions, and especially with the Six of Cups reversed being next to it, that's the card of negative childhood influences, okay? Once again, you're very similar to pile number ones today. Apparently there's a lot of inner child healing, inner child wounds collectively for our group here, our channel, everyone watching this. And so you're encouraged in any way that is most comfortable to you to really reflect on where these self-beliefs came from. And I almost guarantee you, pile number twos, a lot of them probably came from childhood. Could be, say, you were bullied, and so other children taught you are not worthy of non-judgment and of other people's time, okay? Sometimes it can even be family that taught you that, maybe parents that didn't pay enough attention to you emotionally, and so you thought, well, I'm just going to cocoon up because, I'm going to be the wallflower because that's what I was taught as a child of where I belonged, okay? And that's the problem, is that, then we carry those things through life if we don't work through them, and it can limit us in terms of our connection with others, okay? It can limit us in terms of expressing ourselves, like I was telling you about the throat chakra, the heart chakra, vulnerability and freedom, like your angel guide oracle says, okay? And once again, like I said, we have the Knight of Swords here at the very end. That's about taking action with our mind, being brave and being bold with the way that we think and the way that we speak to others. Because I guarantee you, pile number twos, there's a lot of value that you're not sharing with the world. And you don't owe it to the world necessarily. Like, you might not even believe it right now. You might think, oh, what a value do I have to give to the world, right? But every single person has something valuable to share, and every single person has something valuable to say. And it sounds really corny. For some reason, I'm thinking of Bob Ross. If you're familiar, well, most people are familiar with Bob Ross. What am I saying? But in that, he believes that everybody can paint, which is literally like when you think of painting, it's a way of expressing yourself. So maybe that's an inclination from your spirit guides. If you even have some trouble expressing yourself with the verbal word, talking to other people, socializing with other people, pile number twos, try expressing yourself in unique ways. That's oftentimes the reason why artists do what they do, like, say, Bob Ross, for example, bringing that up again, is because they have things to say that they don't feel comfortable saying, or feel most comfortable saying with art, and not traditionally with the way that we speak, right? The beauty of what they're trying to tell the world in ways that words can't express. So think about painting. Think about maybe even making music, even though, I suppose if you make lyrical music, that's technically words, right? But you know what I'm kind of getting at, pile number twos. So think about some creative passions that might spur you to express the way that you feel. Okay, and that can be anything, yeah. Painting, yarn-related work. It can be a million different things. Clay, blacksmithing, insert hobby here. We could go on forever. I don't want the whole reading just to be me listing hobbies, but you get the point. Yep. And then looking at youthful love, too, is very interesting. Sorry, I'm going to look at that for just a second and take a drink here, pile number 2s. That could also be an indication that is there someone that you used to have a romantic relationship with that you've been thinking about lately, pile number 2s? Rhetorical question. I know you can't answer on the channel, or as you're watching the video. I had a viewer get mad at me for that once, so I always say that now, because, obviously you can't answer the question, but someone got mad about it, so I'm just going to say it. Anyways, you can't answer that, but, like I said, the question is there someone that you were in a relationship with when you were younger, youthful love, right, that you've been thinking about recently? And I'm asking that because I'm being told from your spirit team here that there's some sort of lesson to be learned from that experience. And specifically, it's about the way you did or didn't express yourself fully or most honestly in that particular relationship. That could lead to some healing as well. Okay. It's another facet of your reading here. And then victorious silence. Let me look at that card for a moment as well. Pile number 2s. Another interpretation of victorious silence is a card about knowing when to leave something alone or knowing when to not speak up about something. So I know we just had a lot of messages about make sure, you invest in, developing your throat chakra, especially with communication, of course. But at the same time, there's an area of your life too where it's the question I keep hearing is, it's you ask yourself, do I want to speak up about this or do I not? And there's something they're telling you not to speak up about. Or at least to bide your time before you do. I'm going to actually pull some extra cards for you on that pile number 2s because I want to know more about what it is you should or shouldn't speak up about or why or when. I want to make sure I, obviously give you all the tools you need to going forward from this reading for that. So spirit guides for pile number 2s. For that victorious silence card, could you explain more about what they should or shouldn't be silent about, just to give them a good heads up? Thank you. 3 cards. Page of Pentacles or Wheels. 8 of Wands reversed. So definitely hesitate. Wait to say something. And the 10 of Pentacles. Okay, probably regarding your job, pile number 2s, because you have the majority of Pentacles in this advice part of the reading. And Pentacles are about often career or finances, material around us. And they're saying to hesitate or wait to say something. Because, developing your throat chakra, too, can also regard about, knowing when to say things. It's about opening it up and being honest, of course, but it's also about knowing when to stifle the flow a bit, right? And it's definitely a message here about waiting on saying something. Let me look at your other cards here for a second. Obviously, probably at work here with the Pentacles, like I already said before. And I'm being told, especially with the Page and the 10 of Pentacles coming out, it's something to do with a mentor-student or a boss-employee relationship, because the 10 of Pentacles is about legacy or passing things down, and the Page of Pentacles is often someone who's an apprentice or a student in a situation, or someone who is exploring an area of finance or career. So to apply this to everyone generally, it's going to be slightly different for everyone watching this, but in an area of your job or the equivalent in your life right now, hesitate to say something that maybe you've been wanting to say regarding a mentor-student, boss-employee relationship, or that could be your relationship to the person that they're telling you to wait a little bit on, because and I'll explain why, because you have the 8 of Wands reversed. 8 of Wands upright is typically about full speed ahead. Reversed, it's wait a minute, okay, put on the brakes a little bit. There's something there that you should wait and hesitate on, okay? I do want to ask why as well. I'm going to grab just one more card as an answer as to why you should hesitate, because you're probably, especially if you feel very impassioned about it, I want to know, and you probably want to know, like, why should I hesitate, right? Spirit team for pile number 2 is why should they hesitate? Could you give me maybe like one card for that? Thank you. Why should they hesitate? What are you trying to help them? Okay, we have this one flipped over, the Knight of Cups, taking action with our emotions. The reason you should hesitate, pile number 2, is because there is a chance that... I'm trying to think about the best way to word this. The reason you should hesitate is because there is a chance that you might be taken as too emotional or emotionally charged about the way that you word it. Or that you might have too much of an emotional investment in what it is. And so they might not think that you're thinking logically when you say that thing, even if you are. Okay? They might think you're thinking a little bit too optimistically or a little bit too whimsically, because the Knight of Cups sometimes is someone who is like, they wear their heart on their sleeve, right? And it's not a fault with you necessarily, pile number 2s, it's just that the way it might be interpreted, at least if you say it now, is they might think, oh, they're being just too emotional, they're too irrational, even though that's obviously not true, pile number 2s, but... So hesitate, that's a message for you. Hesitate in an area of your life where you've been wanting to say something, at least for a while, until, like, I'm being told you're going to know when the time is right to say it, but at least for now, hold back. So that's your advice in that area as well. And then I want to look over your cards and make sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, we already talked about leaving something alone with that. Reconnect. And I believe that is everything. I'm not getting any more intuitive messages for you. Pile number 2 is okay. So that is what I will leave you with today, as always. I hope the reading was helpful for you. If it resonated, if you liked it, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That just helps me out, which helps, well, me provide more readings for both you and everyone else in our community. And as always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, root throat, heart chakras. And I hope to see you in the next reading, my wonderful pile number 2s, okay? Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today about a message from your spirit guides. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was Observe. So we have, it looks like a bed hanging over a small woodland scene and the new moon in the background. So as always with pile leaders, I like to set them over here next to the pine cone. Oopsie, there goes my pencil. There we go. And as is tradition, let us pick our tarot cards right away. So, Spirit Team, Spirit Guides, a pile number 3s. Could you give me around 5 cards explaining more about what's the message you want to talk to them about today? Thank you. Oh boy. Okay, well, that might be all 5 right there. That was quite the abrupt tarot card. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and literally it's perfectly 5. Thank you, Spirit Team. Sweet. So let's unveil your cards, pile 3s. From the Oracle decks, first up we have, it looks like Earth of Water, Shadow Guardian. Looks like someone reaching down to grab a pearl almost. From Botanical Inspirations, your flower is the pansy, sweet thoughts. And I'll read the quote. It says, pray you love, remember, and there are pansies, that's for thoughts. From Unknown. Pray you love, remember. Okay. Then from the Ask Your Guides Oracle, we have number 7, Adventure. From Guardian Angels. Looks like we're breaking some chains. Beautiful. Freeing ourselves in some way. And from your Angel Guide Oracle, we have beautiful, Holy Love. And that might be my favorite card in that entire deck, honestly. Kind of makes me think of Mary Magdalene. Okay, and then let us unveil your tarot cards too. So first, from the big chunk that just fell out by itself, we have the Eight of Pentacles, or Wheels. Number 2, we have the Seven of Pentacles reversed. Lots of Pentacles so far. Could be a career-heavy reading, but we'll see what else pops out. The Fool reversed. We have the Five of Cups reversed. And last but not least, we have another Pentacles, King of Pentacles. Beautiful. Probably a career-heavy message today, but I do see some other things as well. Pile number 3 is okay. So let's look over your cards. What is the message? Or actually probably multiple. Every pile today had multiple messages, so. What's the message today? So pile number 3, apologies, I was silent for a second there. I was getting some intuitive messages. I'm going to ask a question of you, and I'm going to ask, have you been feeling a bit underappreciated or overtired lately? I know that probably applies to a lot of people in the world right now, but that is the first question that's coming up rhetorically for you. And so, because, I mean, intuitively and empathically, what I'm getting right now is the feeling of someone who feels very bound and feels very overburdened, and someone who feels very, I don't want to say unloved, but someone who feels like, I mean, underappreciated is probably the best word. We'll use that again. But, and so your spirit guides want to reach out to you about this feeling of feeling unappreciated or feeling unloved, feeling kind of bound in a way. And what they're telling me, and just hold with me, okay, because when I say it, you might be inclined to, because I know sometimes when I say negative things, there's a silver lining, just hear me out. Sometimes when I say negative things, I see people click off the reading. I can see the analytics. Just hold on, okay? Put on the brakes. The reason why this is coming up is because I think recently, lovingly, there might have been an inclination towards a bit of a victim mindset, okay? And like I said, don't run away. Everybody falls prey to this mindset sometimes. Pile number 3 is okay. Because the question that this particular card asks, Earth of Water, Shadow Guardian, is what are my problems turning me into? What are my obstacles turning me into? And the thing is that when we come up across obstacles in life, when we come across things that are bothering us or things in our way, disappointments is another word coming through. There are 2 choices we can make. We can either make the choice towards seeing it as an opportunity for growth and an opportunity to overcome something, and I'll call that the warrior mindset. Or we have the choice to think very lovingly, woe is me, and that's what we call the victim mindset, pile number 3. Okay, and like I said, this is not a punch at you from your spirit team. Everybody has had a victim mindset at least once in their life, okay? So don't feel bad, don't, run away from the reading. Because the reason they're telling you about this, the reason they're reaching out to you about this is because they want you to free yourself from that seemingly, like that feeling of binding, that feeling of I am imprisoned by my circumstances, okay? That's kind of where your adventure card comes from here, because it's literally someone breaking their chains, breaking away from the illusion of I'm a victim, instead of someone who is transitioning to a warrior mindset of I am someone who is tough and I endure. I am someone who learns. I am someone who overcomes. And when we transition that mindset to the warrior mindset, as I call it, it can help us overcome the obstacles that much more easily, because we see ourselves as someone who is strong rather than someone who is weak. That's kind of what I'm being intuitively told to tell you today. That's message number 1. And I know you're probably like, oh God, that just came out right out of the gate. Jesus Christ, right? But it seems like Yeah, I mean, especially too with the Holy Love card here. Like I said, it's the card that reminds me of Mary Magdalene. They're saying it because they want what's best for you. They're saying it because they love you. That's literally what holy love means. It's the unconditional love of the holy, of the light, of spirit, however you term it. Everyone's going to call it a different thing. God, right? Angels. And it's also about understanding, because of that love, your inherent worth as a person. Okay, everybody has inherent worth, pile number 3s. Every single person on this planet, including you. And through transitioning to the warrior mindset, as we call it, it's you acknowledging your own power. It's you acknowledging your own strength and your own endurance and your own love for yourself as well, and the love and the belief that your spirit guides and your angels have in you. Spirit in general has in you, okay? Your ancestors, however, whatever kind of spirits that you tend to reach out to, all of them basically are behind you, right? And I especially see this manifesting in an area of your life regarding career. That is why you have a majority of Pentacles today. And, you have the 8 of Pentacles, the 7 of Pentacles reversed, the King of Pentacles. There's some area of your life in your career where you've been feeling a little bit of everything has been an obstacle. This has been a pain in my butt. I feel like everything is just out to get me at this job or career, or it could be maybe you're looking for jobs right now, you're between jobs, and that can really beat you up, pile number 3s. And your spirit team is not knocking that, okay? They're not undervaluing your suffering. But when times of suffering inevitably come about, the only thing you can do is to accept the challenge and keep your head held high and keep going, okay? And that's that warrior mindset I was talking about. Because all of us come across suffering in our lives. It is inevitable, like I said. And a lot of times, who we are or who we become, that is the best version of ourselves, is the version of ourselves that overcame hardship. I mean, right now, rhetorically asking, think of a time in your life before now where you've come through a hardship. Like, think of your greatest hardship. What did that hardship teach you? And how has it become a strength in your life right now that you use day to day? I guarantee you there's at least one. Okay? A lot of times it's, I'm a survivor. It might be the strength that you come up with or you're thinking about. It could be, I am someone who, I've gone through something that I learned how to, say you get a flat, it could be something as simple as I had the hardship of I got a flat tire today with my car. Well, you learned how to change a spare tire, right? Or you learned how to, deal with, keeping a straight mind through under stress or pressure, right? Things like that. That's kind of a dumb example is the tire, but you know what I'm trying to say, pile number 3 is okay. So that's the major first part of your message today, is reevaluating the struggles in your life as not the universe is turning me into a punching bag, and seeing it more as the universe is giving me an opportunity to learn and overcome. It's like the training gym of life. It's the boxing match of life, where a lot of times we don't learn lessons until we're knocked down and we learn how to get back up again, okay? And, it sucks to admit that. It sucks to, even in a tarot reading, I always want to give readings where I'm like, oh, everything's hunky-dory, everything's great to you, pile number 3s, or any of my piles, right? But, as a tarot reader, I'm never going to sugarcoat. I'm just going to tell it like the cards come out. And, I know it's a little bit of a tough love reading, but really, like I said, it's an expression from your spirit guides that they do believe in you and they do love you, like Holy Love says, okay? And so if you're coming across these obstacles of a victim mindset regarding your career, your advice here, especially with the 8 of Pentacles, is to keep working at it, as difficult as it is, okay? Especially because the 8 of Pentacles is, literally it's a blacksmith, and what does a blacksmith do but take the hammer and repeatedly strike something, right? That's how the blacksmith works. That's how he goes through life, is shaping things and making them perfect. Okay, I mean, literally, we're getting into the symbolism and the metaphor of how life beats you around and it makes you a more perfect person. The more you go through, the more lessons you learn, okay? It's like you're the piece of iron or steel forged under that hammer, okay? And as much as it might beat you up, these drawbacks and setbacks in life, it's making you that much more perfect of a soul, pile number threes. And, at least, now we're getting into metaphysical talk. I'm sorry, your reading is getting very spiritually high level, right? But what that means, pile number threes, is that you're ready for that high enough of a spiritual talk, okay? You're ready. You're an advanced soul, I can tell you that. I mean, I definitely feel that right now with you. And that's why you have a little bit of a harder message today, is because your spirit guides believe that you're ready for it, and they believe in you, like I said, to make it through this time. They believe in you to understand the value of being the iron forged under the hammer, using that same metaphor, to become that much more perfect of a soul, like we were saying. And same thing, too, with that Seven of Pentacles reverse. Sorry, I got so far off track, but that's a lot of your reading today is more intuitive rather than the cards. But, of course, I'll get back to the cards here. I'm also pile number threes. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm getting something about the left side of your body. I don't know if you've had an injury recently with the left side of your body or something in that area. Or you're left-handed. Something with that. Keep an eye on that. There's something with the left side of your body that they want to. I'm gonna ask. I'll draw some other cards in a little bit here once we get through the first cards. Asking about the left side of your body, what's going on with that, because they're very they're urging a lot on that part. So yeah. Anyway, sorry. Everything's all over. So the Seven of Pentacles reversed is about making sure that we plant seeds for the future, and that's kind of what this situation is doing for you, pile number three. Is there's some valuable lesson you're learning right now through this hard work of being, feeling like the universe is maybe a little bit against you right now. That's going to help you plant seeds for the future, either in this life or even in future lives, because a lot of times what we learn in our current life are things that we take with us, or we, over time, whittle down to, a life lesson over multiple lives, okay? And so there is value in the suffering right now, as much as that's hard to hear, with that Seven of Pentacles reversed. And two, say it is maybe you've been looking for a job and you've been getting rejection after rejection. That just means that those places that you didn't get to were not meant for you. There's something better for you waiting afterwards. Let's see, too. And I will say, though, pile number threes, okay, hear me out. You also have the Five of Cups reversed. That's the card of overcoming grief. So I have a feeling that if you've been having a lot of hardships recently, that the time of sadness or grieving is coming to an end here. It seems like this was just a particularly hard part of your life. So there's the silver lining right there, is that it seems like these issues are coming to an end soon regarding, career and financial related things, especially with the abundance of the Pentacles. And then two, as the central card, you have the Fool reversed, which is... Well, sometimes it's about being careful about taking risks, and sometimes, it's very interesting because you literally have, with your Earth of Water card here, it's like someone reaching for a light or a pearl, and then you have the same thing here, like the Fool reaching for the sun. I just realized that symbolic sharing here. Sorry, 1 minute, I'm going to ask about that. So they're telling me the reason, okay, this Fool reversed, the reason why you have not progressed yet to the time past the hardship is because there's still just a little bit more to learn here before you start the new beginning into a time of a lot more ease, okay? Because the Fool reversed, upright it can mean a new journey, but reversed it's like you're still you're not ready to start that new journey yet. Also, like I said, it's about being wary of taking risks, not going forward too fast, okay? So just know that everything that's happening right now is for a reason, okay? And that the hardship is coming to an end here with that Five of Cups. And then also, too, with the King of Pentacles here being like the final card, I think part of the conclusion or the resolution of that Five of Cups reversed is regarding like finding success or overcoming the hardships regarding career, or like I said, it could be some of you have been looking for a job and that's why that hardship is overcome, because the King of Pentacles is someone who is a master of the material world, okay? Someone who is successful, financially successful in their career, things like that. And then too, even with adventures here with your spirit guide oracle, reading it this way, it's like coming over this time of hardship, and now the chains of what was holding you back in career or finances are breaking. I mean, even like you have the number 7 here as this card, which is, of course, number 7 is a lucky number, right? We think it as is the heavenly number too. So yes, you know, as hard as, you know, like I said, I don't sugarcoat my readings. I always try to give my readings as gently as possible. And just remind you that there is a reason for everything we go through in life, pile number 3s. So I'm sorry if that was kind of a hard to hear reading, but like I said, every single person goes through this lesson, okay? You're not alone. It's not that, you know, you're uniquely, that this is a unique thing to you. Okay, everybody goes through this lesson, all right? Just remember the warrior mindset, okay? And then I am going to ask about the left side of the body. I was getting that before, and I want to make sure I draw cards on that as well. So, we also have sweet thoughts from your pansy. Pray you love, remember, and there are pansies. That's for thoughts. You know, I kind of almost see that as like the silver lining thinking I was talking about, like moving from that victim mindset more into the warrior mindset, like I was saying. Just remembering the silver lining of things. Okay. So spirit team for pile number 3s. The ones who look out for them so much. Could you give me 3 cards explaining about the left side of the body, what's going on with that? Okay, that one for sure wanted to pop out, so we'll take that one. It was like acrobating out of there. Let's see. Well, we'll do that. And then number 3. Okay, left side of the body, what's going on? You know, it's interesting. The devil reversed is just like breaking chains. Freeing yourself from something. I don't know if you've recently been healing something on the left side of your body. Pile number 3 is the King of Cups reversed. Okay, something with water. And then we have the 6 of Swords reversed, which is staying in place. That's a very interesting reading here, pile number 3s. Sorry, I'm silent just for a second. I want to make sure I read this correctly. So pile number 3s, just for context, this might not resonate with all of you, okay? So just take what resonates, leave what doesn't, because I'm being told that this is regarding something that you already know about, so I don't want you to run away thinking you have like a health scare from this reading, okay? Also too, because it's actually a positive message. There's something to do with the way that something on the left side of your body moves, especially regarding like blood or the heart, arteries, things like that with the King of Cups, because Cups I read is like the heart suit, right? And it's freeing itself from an issue, especially with adventure also having had the breaking of the chains. Like that's literally what the devil reversed also means, is freeing yourself from something that was holding you back. So if you've been having issues in that area recently, I think what they're saying is that you're going to be freed from something in that particular area of your body that's been having those issues. And I want to say it's like a mobility. I don't know if you broke a bone on the left side of your body or something like that. Like I said, this might not apply to everybody, but... or there's been some sort of like artery related thing on the left side of your body. Or heart, which your heart is technically, I think, on the left side of your chest, right? Oh god, even, I just realized this too. There's literally a star over the heart of the adventure card. Yeah, there's something with the heart, the artery, or like the left side of your body, and it freeing itself in some way. So I'm going to say that's good news in this area. Like I said, I don't know how that applies to every single one of you, but yeah. keep an eye out for that as well. They wanted to talk to you about that. So I'm going to look over all of your cards here, pile number 3s, and make sure I didn't miss anything before I sign off with you. Assuming that most of you are still here, maybe you might have, some of you might have heard victim mindset and everyone clicked off the reading really quick. Like I said, I see those analytics. I know when people click off, but I say it anyways because I'm an honest tarot reader. So, thank you for staying with me for those of you that heard me out. But yeah, observe here is a very interesting card too. Yeah, you're on the cusp of a new phase of your life as well, though, pile number 3s. I think it's like I was saying before, the overcoming of the hardships. Yeah. Very beautiful reading, pile number 3s. And like I said, the reason why they're telling you these things, even if they're hard to hear, is because your spirit team believes that you're ready. Like I said, I feel like you're a more advanced soul. Of course, all souls are equal, right? But you're the type of person that can handle a reading like this. So actually it's kind of a compliment because your spirit team is saying, you know, sometimes when people come to a tarot reading, they get a reading about, say, you know, a more tangible life to life, or I should say like everyday thing, right? It's very rare that I get a reading that is this deep, is a good word. And so, like I said, that's actually a very, very good sign for you, pile number 3s, that you're someone who is, higher on the spiritual growth ladder is what a spiritualist pastor I knew used to say. So, yes, you are definitely someone who is, I want to say, I keep hearing starseed. Okay, so some of you might actually be starseeds, as they call them, if you're not sure what that is, you know. Someone that didn't always have their lives incarnated here on Earth, basically, is how I would describe it. In different parts of the universe, right? But I keep hearing Arcturus. Arcturian maybe, but for those of you that are not familiar with starseeds, of course, I can't explain the whole thing here on this particular reading, but I would research into that more if that interests you, if you haven't already. Look up Arcturian starseed. Okay, that's another thing I'm being told. But yes, beautiful reading, pile number 3s. And I thank you for letting me read your cards today, because like I said, I don't get deep readings like this a lot, and it's actually one of my favorite kind of readings to give. Not the negative things, obviously, but the more deep, spiritual type messages. So yeah, just remember to ask yourself the question, what are my problems turning me into? That is your guiding mantra for at least the near future here from your spirit guides today. So that is what I will leave you with, my warrior pile number 3. So as always, I hope that reading was helpful for you. If you liked it, if it resonated, please like, comment, and or subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. That just helps me out, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others. Thank you for those of you who listened through maybe the harder part of this reading once again. That's a good sign that you're on that way to that warrior mindset, right? In this, at least this particular part of your life. And as always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And just remember that, especially too, I want to leave this message as well, is that don't tell the other piles this. I mean, I guess you might say it in the comments, but I feel like out of all the piles today, your spirit team is the most proud of you. So just remember that as well. They're proud of you, okay? So yes, wonderful rest of your day. And I hope to see you in the next reading, my lovely pile number 3s, okay? Bye.